The team of firefighters over at Station 12 had just wrapped up their routine gear inspections, chatting casually, getting ready for what they hoped would be a quiet shift, when something totally unexpected happened. Something that made them freeze. Out of the corner of their eye, they saw movement, slow, shaky, and strange. Limping into the open garage bay was a dog. Not just any dog, this poor thing was covered head to toe in thick, dried mud. He was skinny, so skinny his ribs showed, and trembling like he hadn't felt warmth or kindness in days. Rainwater dripped from his soaked fur, and his wide, panicked eyes locked onto the firefighters like he had something urgent to say. Something he needed them to understand. But it wasn't just his condition that made them pause, it was what he was holding. Clutched gently between his teeth, almost reverently, was a single, tiny shoe. Bloodstained. Dirty. Clearly worn. And unmistakably small, far too small for an adult. The kind of shoe that could only belong to a child. The room went silent. No words were needed. The dog slowly stepped forward, laid the little shoe on the concrete floor with great care, and then backed away with a soft, heartbreaking whimper. It wasn't fear, it was sorrow. It was like he was asking for help. No barking. No chaos. Just quiet desperation. The firefighters slowly gathered around, drawn in by an invisible thread. They stared at the shoe. Their chests tightened. None of them said it, but they all felt the same thing. That pit-in-your-stomach feeling that told them this wasn't random. This wasn't just a stray wandering in for shelter. This dog had a reason for being here. And that reason felt urgent. It felt real. Captain Harris, a veteran with more than 2 decades of firefighting experience under his belt, was the first to act. With calm, deliberate movements, he crouched down near the trembling dog. The dog flinched slightly, startled, but didn't flee. His eyes, still locked on the humans, were pleading. Not scared, just full of raw emotion. He needed them to understand. Carefully, Harris picked up the tiny shoe with his gloved hand. His heart skipped a beat. The blood soaked into the fabric was fresh. Not dried. Not old. This had just happened. And that was it. That was the moment everything shifted. This dog didn't just wander in, Harris said, his voice firm, serious. He's trying to lead us somewhere. No time for hesitation. No time to doubt. The team immediately suited up. Harris ordered one truck loaded with rescue gear and another prepped with medical supplies, just in case. Whatever this dog was trying to say, they were going to listen. Then, without warning, the dog let out one sharp, urgent bark and took off down the street at a full sprint. No collar, no tags, no name, just raw instinct and purpose in every step. The trucks followed slowly behind, their engines quiet. No sirens. No lights. Just the sound of tires cutting through wet pavement. Every few hundred feet, the dog would stop, glance back, making sure they were still with him, and then keep running. It was clear now. He wasn't just running randomly. He knew where he was going. And the deeper they went, the more unsettling the surroundings became. They passed boarded-up buildings, broken fences, streets that looked forgotten by time. A part of town no one visited anymore. The kind of place where people disappeared and no one noticed. Eventually, the dog skidded to a halt in front of a crumbling, vine-covered warehouse. The windows were shattered, the bricks stained by time and rain. He barked again, pawing urgently at the heavy wooden door, which barely hung on its rusty hinges. Harris and 2 others jumped out, flashlights ready, instincts on high alert. "Be ready," Harris warned, his voice low, tense. They pushed the door open slowly. The air that hit them was thick, damp, and tinged with the unmistakable metallic scent of blood. It clung to everything. The silence inside was deafening. Then, barely audible, they heard it. A whimper. The beam of a flashlight swept across the room and stopped. A small hand, curled up in the corner, barely moving, was a little girl, no older than 10. Her face was pale, her eyes fluttering weakly. Blood streaked down her leg. Her ankle looked twisted. The bloody shoe? It was hers. Without hesitation, the dog sprinted to her side, curling up protectively, whimpering as if to say, "I brought help. You're going to be okay." The firefighters radioed for an ambulance instantly. The girl was alive, but cold, dehydrated, and likely in shock. But she was alive. As medics rushed in, the girl stirred. Her lips quivered, her voice barely a whisper. He didn't leave me," she said, reaching out to bury her fingers into the dog's muddy fur. Tears streamed down her cheeks. "He stayed the whole time." The firefighters watched in awe. This wasn't just a rescue. This was a miracle. They carried the girl to the waiting stretcher. And right behind her, never more than a step away, was the dog. He wasn't leaving her side.
Not now.
Not ever. At the hospital, doctors worked quickly to treat her injuries. Police began their investigation. The girl had been missing for nearly 3 days. And that single, bloodied shoe? It was the only clue that connected her to the help that found her. Animal control showed up, assuming the dog was just another stray to be taken in. But the girl clung to him, like her life depended on it. "No," she cried. "He saved me. He's my hero." Captain Harris stood quietly nearby, watching it all unfold. Then he stepped forward. "He's staying," Harris said firmly. "With her. At least until we get some answers. As far as I'm concerned, he's family now." And just like that, the story took on a life of its own. News outlets picked it up almost immediately. "Hero dog saves missing girl," blared across TV screens and social media feeds. Reporters gathered outside the hospital, hoping to catch a glimpse of the mysterious mutt and the brave girl he refused to leave behind. Inside, as the girl healed, the bond between her and her furry savior only grew stronger. And then came the moment that melted hearts across the city. Her parents, eyes full of emotion, made the announcement themselves. They were officially adopting the dog. Buddy, as the girl now called him, wasn't just her rescuer. "He's the reason our daughter is alive," her father said through tears. "He's not just a dog. He's our hero." Thank you for watching. If this story touched your heart even a little, go ahead and like, comment, and don't forget to subscribe for more incredible stories that prove heroes come in all shapes and sizes, even four-legged ones.